is Valley News Live at 4.
And we begin with the breaking news at 4. Valley News Live has obtained an incident report about what led Moorhead police to be at Minnesota State Senate candidate Dan Bomer's house for over 40 minutes last night. The police report says that officers were called to Bomer's Moorhead home during a child exchange with his ex-wife. Court documents say the two share custody, but Bomer is accused of trying to convince the child not to go with the mother. No one was arrested. A political ad was recently released by the Minnesota DFL and its references to his relationship with his ex-wife. You can see Bomer's response to the ad by visiting our website, valleynewslive.com, and clicking on this story. And new at 4, we now know the name of the 18-year-old man who was fighting for his life after being involved in a car crash Wednesday evening. Authorities say Jay Crum was riding his motorcycle on 40th Avenue South in Fargo. He collided with the driver of an SUV that was turning onto 40th from a side street near Cheyenne High School. Crum was thrown from the bike and onto the road after striking the front left corner of the SUV. Charges are pending against both Crum and a 15-year-old Fargo girl involved in the crash. The 15-year-old driver had 2 juvenile passengers with her. No one in the SUV was hurt. And we have new information about a fire in North Fargo that caused some serious damage at a home this morning. Firefighters say when they first arrived on scene, they could see flames coming in from the main floor windows. Crews say they got the fire under control in about 15 minutes, but about half of the main floor was already damaged. The building was not occupied at the time and was slated for demolition. Now, a dollar amount as to how much in damages took place has not been released at this time. No one was hurt when putting out the fire. Also new at 4, 2 men are facing charges in Eddy County, North Dakota after a confrontation between a landowner and a group of duck hunters. Landowner Jeffrey Ehrman called the game warden on the morning of October 21st to report people trespassing on his land, and an investigation began. Yesterday, Dustin Wolf, who is one of the hunters in the group, was charged with criminal trespass. Ehrman was also charged with trading in special influence, disorderly conduct, obscenity, and interference with rights of hunters and trappers. One of the men in the hunting party recorded a confrontation between the group and the landowner, which has now 1.8 million views and nearly 9,300 comments on YouTube. Well, taking a look at our Skycam right now, things are looking pretty decent out there, but it's also a little bit of a chilly day right now. We want to get what we're looking at from First Alert Storm Team forecaster Summer Schnellbach. Summer, what are we looking at right now?
Hey everyone, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. It is a much cooler day today after 60s and 70s yesterday. Well, we're 25 to 35, if not 40 degrees colder at this hour than we were at this time yesterday. 40 degrees colder in Hettinger, 42 degrees colder in Bismarck, 32 degrees colder in Jamestown, 25 degrees colder right here in Fargo. Temperatures are only in the 30s and 40s right now. 37 in Bemidji and Detroit Lakes, 35. One of the cool spots in Devil's Lake, a little bit cooler off to the west, with the warmest conditions off to the east. We're at 57 in Brainerd, 59 right now out in Duluth, but even colder back to the west with a lot more 30s. Satellite and radar showing a good extent of cloud cover and some showers as well. In fact, we've got some flakes and flurries showing up moving into the Devil's Lake Basin. Yet to see those on our Skycam, so not all of it's making it to the ground, but that's a swath of snow on radar from Langdon through the Devil's Lake Basin back through Maddock and Carrington. Meanwhile, down in the Southern Valley, we're seeing a little bit of mixed precipitation. So Bobby, coming up in a few minutes, I'll track where these showers are headed and what we can expect as we wrap up our work week.
Yeah, that warm day that we had yesterday is bye-bye. Yep, exactly. Summer, thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a few more minutes. Well, patients at Essentius Health now will be allowed more visitors. The hospitals are allowing 2 visitors per patient at a time, and the visitors don't have to be the same 2 people either. They say it's a slight adjustment from their current policy requiring the same 2 per patient on a given day. One of the visitors can be a kid, but kids must be supervised by an adult at all times. Visitation hours have also been extended from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Masking is still required. And this morning, the Minneapolis City Council has approved a new police chief. Mayor Jacob Frey nominated Brian O'Hara 2 months ago. He had been serving as deputy mayor of Newark, New Jersey, a city he says was once marked by crime and mistrust similar to Minneapolis. But Newark's reputation has changed under O'Hara's leadership.
And I will do everything I can, as some of the members mentioned, to ensure that we are present, that I am present personally in community, and we engage with everyone.
All 13 council members voted yes on O'Hara's confirmation. A Fargo business called Mr. Spindle makes, you guessed it, spindles for staircases, both indoor and out. Bob Matthews owns a woodworking company, but he's known around the world by a different name. Krista Kidorowski gives us a look at where his business has taken him.
Mr. Spindle has been a family business since 1977, when they began selling lumber to stores like Lowe's, Menards, and Home Depot. But things changed in 1988 when they got a special request from a lumber yard in Chicago. Owner Robert Matthews quickly learned he would need a lot more than the few pieces of new and specialized equipment he bought to fill the request.
Then I found out that I needed newels and handrail and porch posts and finials and post caps. And, just one thing led to another over the years.
When the internet became a popular place for specialty online sales, people from all over the world stepped up and began placing orders. His work soon caught the eyes of Hollywood set designers and TV show producers. Mr. Spindle has created porches and decks for more than 20 movie productions and TV shows. One review from the construction coordinator of the ABC show Resurrection states,
"I cannot say enough good things about this company. The quality of the work, the trust they extended me, and the speed with which they shipped them to me was outstanding. I have told many other buyers around here about Mr. Spindle and will continue to do so."
You don't have to go to Hollywood or binge watch a TV series to see Mr. Spindle's work. The former governor's mansion in Bismarck displays replica porch slats that were designed to match the originals of this 139-year-old building. Mr. Spindle has done projects all over the world, from just a few replacement parts for aging decks in Massachusetts, all the way to the happiest place on earth. He says it's too hard to pick a favorite project.
Disney World was a lot of fun, and the Hollywood sets, being able to say that, for your pride and your ego is always kind of fun. But I get just as big a kick out of selling 3 post caps to a little old lady that calls and needs to match something on her house.
Matthews says he's not in the business to sell the most products, but his staff wants to make sure the quality of their work always comes first. Perhaps that's the reason so many Hollywood sets are credited to Mr. Spindle.
And Bob typically works with woods like cedar, redwood, and mahogany grown in the U.S., but soon he and his wife will travel to Uruguay to look at woods specific to that country. The Moorhead Public Library is hosting 2 more informational sessions on a proposed new regional library and community center tonight. The funding would come from a 0.5% sales tax increase if voters approve the measure on Election Day next week. A citizen-led task force was formed last year to work with the community to decide on features and amenities. Some of the top requests include a walking track, indoor play area, hands-on learning place, and green space. And 2 more sessions are being held tonight. They start at 5:30 and 6:30. Well, in North Dakota, more than half of all adults have registered to be organ donors. That's higher than the national average. But doctors say boosting those numbers even more means the potential for more lives saved, particularly when it comes to kidney donation. Now, one way some hope that to make that happen is through a process called deemed consent, which is already the law in parts of Canada. Deemed consent presumes everyone agrees to be an organ donor unless they actually opt out. Right now in North Dakota, the voluntary rate of registered organ donors is at 53%. And it's a big weekend coming up for a lot of North Dakota and Minnesota families. Deer season starts Friday in North Dakota and on Saturday in Minnesota. That means hunters are hitting the stores to gear up, and many are running into supply shortages. Some shops say they've had a tough time keeping ammunition stocked up again this year. Well, the lottery winning streak in Minnesota continued last night with one $1 million winner and 3 $50,000 winners. Now, the $1 million ticket was sold at a Quick Trip in Hinckley, and 3 $50,000 winning tickets were found in Coon Rapids, Roseville, and Litchfield. The Powerball jackpot could potentially reach up to $1.5 billion by the next drawing.